Has any one of you ever thought of the idea of poverty? If so, have you ever thought of eradicating its concept or helping prevent the fast rising rate of poverty not just in the Philippines but in the whole world? What's the big deal about it and why is it becoming so concerning? I'm Pagsisihan, a student here in FEU Lavang, hoping to having you encouraged to make a step in fighting poverty. So, what is really the meaning of poverty? In my opinion, it is a social problem. It is the lack of having basic needs, including shelter, clothing, food, and as well as safe drinking water for a person to live normally. It is important to meet a certain level of physical, social, and emotional needs. Poverty is an existing state whose cause or explanation is still in question. It has been examined by researchers in different ways and different methods. People who live in poverty are having difficulties in achieving those things on a daily basis. Complete lack of having basic necessities is called absolute poverty. First, food insecurity. It is a state where a person or society has an adequate availability of food to survive. Not only food, but access to clean drinking water. Being secured in terms of food is not just having enough supply of food to eat in order to fulfill the body's need. Actually, having an access to a clean drinking water is more important. According to studies in biology, a human can go about 3 weeks without food but would only typically last 3 to 4 days without water. Nevertheless, both are very essential to a human being's everyday life. People who are food insecure are more likely to have a VIP access into becoming poorer. Why? Poor health is one of the causes of being food insecure. Poor health causes a person to be unfit to work, so if they won't be able to work due to having poor health, they won't earn the money they need to support and provide themselves with the basic necessities. Then the cycle goes on until they reach the point of absolute poverty. Some people might not think about this, nor might not have any concern about this global issue or the impact that it can bring. But being aware about this issue is as important as waking up every day. Why? Because just like waking up, poverty is a state of a person that can be experienced every day. Being naive of this situation will make a person be unprepared of being one of the people who are experiencing this issue. It is saddening to know how other people take what they have, or to be specific, what they want for granted. While most of the people in the world are having hard times in having what they need. Aristotle once said that the ultimate goal in life is to strive happiness, and that the difference is found amongst ends. People, mostly in the third world countries, strive for happiness. They appreciate what they have and hope that it will get better. For me, that is the will that they have to continue living day by day. Poverty is one of the hardest states in life to put an end on. If poverty is easy to stop, it could have been ended a long time ago. Stopping poverty can be easily compared to stopping the massive growth of population around the world. Though stopping poverty may seem to be impossible to attain, we can always start by reducing it. Little by little, if people work together by near, it is crucial that governments and people around the world work together to reduce poverty. Ideas about the reduction of this issue will be much more easier to be implemented if everyone works together. Well, cooperation is the number one thing that we can do to prevent poverty. Nevertheless, here are some of the things that we can do to prevent poverty? First thing, develop and implement rapid and sustained economic growth policies and programs in areas such as health, education, nutrition, and sanitation, allowing the poor to participate and contribute to the growth. Studies show that a 10% increase in the country's average income reduces poverty by as much as 20 to 30%. Number two, improve management of water and other natural resources. Most of the rural poor depends on agriculture or other natural resources for their livelihood. Consequently, it is necessary that they have more equitable access to those resources so they are better able to manage their resources. Number three, invest in and implement agricultural programs. China has helped 800 million people out of poverty since 1978 as a part of its strategy to eradicating poverty by 2020. The Agricultural Bank of China will lend more than $400 billion to help develop rural areas, fund education, infrastructure, and crop production. Next is we can encourage countries to engage in trade as a path out of poverty. Trade is the key to growth and prosperity. Some of the world's poorest countries, including Indonesia, Botswana, and Brazil, have traded their way out of poverty. Create and improve access to jobs and income, and develop entrepreneurial talent. Next is providing all the people with access to basic social services, including education, healthcare, adequate food, sanitation, shelter, and clean water. Progressively, progressively developing social protection systems to support those who cannot support themselves. Next is empower people living in poverty by involving them in the development of implementation of plans and programs to reduce and eradicate poverty. Their involvement ensures that programs reflect those things that are important to them. Remove barriers to equal access to resources and services. Poverty is eradicated when there is a surplus in the economy and you allow wealth inequality. However, wealth inequality destabilizes society. Poverty is often the result of personal failure, but it is also the result of bad luck. People born with low IQs will often be poor because they won't be able to create as much value as those lucky to be born smart. If you allow the smart to create and be motivated to succeed, you get the poor having a living standard that is better than the one who kings enjoyed 100 years ago. But you also have to take into account the strain that inequality creates on the psyches of young men. It's not an easy problem to solve. Poverty has become one of the greatest issues in the world. Though many organizations have been created to find solutions for this matter, nobody could save our world completely from poverty. The most common fact which we can realize when we consider on information about poverty is that poverty is mostly occurring in developing countries. Now, the least we can do to help prevent the rising rate of poverty is by avoiding ourselves from being in the state of poverty itself. We may not eradicate its concept, but we are helping to have it prevented.